came up, and we didn't want to leave you guys in the lurch. So here I am.
I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. My name is Nat Parker. Nat's short for Nathaniel. If you call me Matt or Nate or Ned, I will answer to that because I get it all the time. I am a project manager for Element Power, and we're a renewable energy company that's based in Portland, Oregon. We are down here and have been down here since the spring of this year to talk to the community and to promote a project that we have submitted to the county called Wildflower Green Energy Farm. I left a couple brochures on the front. If you haven't seen one, you should definitely take a look. You live in what is the windiest and sunniest place in the state of California, and for that matter, some of the entire continental United States. That certainly does not come as a surprise to anyone I speak to here. When I first came to the Antelope Valley, I remarked that the trees grew kind of like they hadn't had their V8. They were all leaning over to the side. We're here though, and we hope to stay here. And you know, I don't have a specific presentation for you tonight, but what I'd like to do is to tell you a little bit about our company, a little bit about our project, and then just leave it open. I don't want to keep you guys too late. If you have any questions, you can jump in at any time. Our company is what's called an independent power producer. So what we do, we're in the business of building large-scale, utility-size energy projects and selling that power to utility companies, be it Edison, DWP, a municipal utility, you name it. The valley is obviously being hit up with many solar projects. Certainly our project, which has a wind component. And I think it's safe to say there will probably be more projects tomorrow, the day after, and so forth, because you are in a place, as I mentioned, that has some of the best on-peak winds and the best sun radiation, solar radiation, essentially, in the state. What I mean by that is when we say on-peak, it means that when people are driving home, when they come home, they turn on the air conditioner or the oven, the winds in the valley start to actually hit their peak, and they start blowing the strongest. And so from a utility point of view, what that means is that the valley can produce power when it's needed most. So that's why we're here. We have a purchase option agreement on 2,200 acres just past the Poppy Reserve on the Healy Farms Ranch. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that, but if you just pass the Poppy Reserve, a little over a mile on the left-hand side is Healy Farms. 2,200 acres that was used to grow alfalfa and to raise horses. We are studying that land right now for its potential for both wind and solar power. So to do that, if you drive past, you might see a couple of meteorological towers, which have an anemometer on the top that's measuring wind speed and wind direction. We also have what's called a pyranometer, which is studying the sun's radiation, how strong it is, and how consistent it is. What I can tell you is that it's hot, it's sunny, and it is very windy out there. In addition to looking at the actual resource, we have biologists who are out there every month looking at the site and studying the land through walking surveys to understand are there any sensitive species that may be of concern. Are there any archaeological or cultural resources that we need to be aware of? We have a radar truck that goes out at night that's looking to identify flight paths and migration corridors for raptors and for other migratory bird species. The idea is that we want to optimize the energy that could be produced out there, but we want to minimize any environmental impact that we would have. As a demonstration of our commitment to that, we also cleaned up a dump that was on the site that took 37 dump truck loads of old waste from the farm itself. That went to Lancaster landfill. But you guys are seeing a lot of companies in the valley. It's kind of like the Wild West, and there's a lot of gunslingers. And I think that it's important that you differentiate between any one company and another. And Element Power is committed to working with the community, to working locally with the town councils, with Antelope Acres Town Council, of course, and hearing what you think, and designing a project that has community support and distinct community benefits. To that end, we actually opened an office in Antelope Acres in Craig Van Dam's feed store several months ago. And I come down nearly every week to either hold meetings there or take people on tours of our site. So if anyone is interested and would like to come out, I'm out here just about every week, and I'd love to show you what we're doing. There's a couple things that I'd ask you to think about as part of this. One, obviously, is the resource that you're sitting on. Second is the jobs and the economic development opportunity that a project like this can bring to the area. The last that I checked, and maybe this has improved somewhat, I think the valley's unemployment rate was around 17%. Maybe that's picked up. Our project, if it's built, would create up to 300 construction jobs over the course of a year. And depending on the specific mix of either wind, solar, or a combination of the technologies, could create 24 permanent jobs for people who live in the valley who want to work close to home. So those are some of the things I'd leave you with. I'm happy to answer any questions. Just leave it short and sweet. So.
I have a question. What are you doing about checking on the quail and so forth, the birds in that area? And are you putting in windmills? Because I know that when we go quail hunting up by Mojave, we push the quail up the hill, and when they come to that fence along where the windmills are, they turn to the left all the time. They never go inside the windmills. So are you guys having windmills or solar?
It remains to be seen. What we have done is we have submitted an application to build a renewable energy farm that would create up to 230 megawatts of power. It's enough energy for about 70,000 homes. But what we've done, and we've done this intentionally, is we've laid out a number of ways to get there. In other words, we have 4 implementation options that we've proposed that we would like to study for their impact on the land, and we want to hear from the community what they think about them. So yes sir, to your point, one of the implementation options would be a mixed technology facility. It would use modern turbines, the larger turbines, but fewer of them, and it would use solar panels interspersed between the turbines.
And second, what studies do you do about the birds in the area?
Sure. So we have ongoing studies with a team of biologists that we've had who do quadrangle surveys, which means they actually walk diagonal lines along quarter sections. They look for any species, be it burrowing owl, be it resident species, exotic species. As you know, we're right next to the Antelope Valley Sportsman's Club as well. So we're sensitive to hunters who are in the area. We've been in conversations with Dave Whiteside about his people's use of the area. And what I think we would want to do is to create an easement that would allow hunting to continue in the area that would not encumber that activity whatsoever.
But the birds won't go into the windmills. So how do you address that when you're shoving out the birds, pushing the birds out? That was one question. Second question is, if you have solar power, are you going to go ahead and need water to generate the electricity, or are you going to have batteries to go ahead and pull the electricity and have an inverter so you can convert that to 120 volts?
Sure.
Which one are you going to do?
So our solar proposal is for all photovoltaic solar energy, which is just the panels. It uses silicon-based crystalline panels that create DC, direct current.
Okay.
And those would have inverters that would then
inverters. Okay.
Correct, change that current to alternating current.
And where is this electricity going to be they're going to have power lines to where? To Lancaster, Tondale, where, or just to the Edison?
Sure. So the proposal as it stands right now is to what we call interconnect to the grid at the Antelope substation on Avenue J. So as we've designed it so far, it would mean that we have a small substation on the project property, and we would run a transmission line that would go due south and then jag along Avenue J to the Antelope sub.
So we'll actually use